Hey guys, so before I get into the main topic of this video, I just want to go over a couple things that happened last video. First off, something I actually got totally wrong. So last video, I briefly popped up an image that showed the Link's Awakening spirits in Smash, and it said something about how the Link's Awakening spirits would probably show up when the Link's Awakening remake for Switch happened, and actually those spirits are already out. Those spirits happened right after E3, and then the one other thing I want to go over from last video has to do with that E10 Plus rating through Teen that was on the Sakurai Hero demo showcase video. So for our previous videos on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the rating was always E10+, and then in the last video that had Sakurai showcasing Hero, it actually said E10+ through Teen, so I was speculating about the possibility of one of our last two DLC reps pushing the rating of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate up to Teen, at least the DLC rating. However, some other possibilities for what could be going on here have been pointed out to me. For one thing, Hero has a move called Kamikaze, and considering the reputation that word has, it's possible that is pushing this video up to a Teen rating. The other possibility, and what I'm assuming now is why it said E10+ through Teen, is because that video also mentioned Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age S Definitive Edition. That game does have a T rating for the Switch version, so that is most likely why. They did actually mention that game in the video, so it's probably because the game was mentioned why the Sakurai Hero demo video actually had E10+, the rating for Smash Ultimate, through Teen, the rating for Dragon Quest XI on Switch. I think that's the most likely reason we had that rating pop up, but it's still possible one of the last DLC fighters is causing the game to be rated differently or the DLC to be rated differently. It's not totally known yet, but I would say my own personal opinion now is that it's probably because of Dragon Quest XI on Switch being featured in that video, and that's why that rating popped up. Okay, and now for the main topic of this video. This is something I usually don't like to speculate about. It's just something that in the past hasn't always yielded good results for speculation, and that is speculating about the character select screen. Now, the character select screen in Smash games is historically not always perfect. I mean, if you look at the Melee character select screen, for instance, it's very wonky. However, right now with Hero's release, the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate character select screen looks very clean. So if there's any time to talk about the character select screen, I feel like it's right now. This is all highly speculative stuff, so I'm just going to dive into this rabbit hole to see what interesting things we might be able to find here, but this is just speculation, so don't take any of this stuff too seriously I'm about to talk about. Okay, so here is the current 4.0.0 version of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate character select screen with all of the current DLC added, and it's perfectly squared off. It's a perfectly squared off character select screen. We have our newest DLC character, Hero, then the 3 Mii characters, then the random button, and all this perfectly squares off the character select screen. However, we know we're getting more characters than this, so this is going to change. Okay, so just for speculation's sake, let's hypothetically add in what we know we're going to get. So here we go, here's what the roster looks like now. We have Banjo after Hero, then we have 2 more characters coming, and unfortunately what this does is it pushes out the Mii characters. It leaves room for the random button, but the Mii characters no longer fit on the character select screen. But if we are to believe that just getting this Fighter Pass is the end for characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, then this is what they have to play around with for the character select screen. It's going to be odd looking pretty much any way they do it. So now let's get really hypothetical here. We've had some speculation about a potential bonus character after the Fighter Pass, in the same way Piranha Plant was a bonus character after the base game. So let's add in a 3rd character after Banjo and see what the character select screen might look like then. So if you add in 1 more bonus fighter after the Fighter's Pass, you get something that looks sort of like this. You'd have the Mii characters down on the bottom, but you'd also have the random button down there, which looks a little better. Those things are always a bit separate from the main selectable characters, so having them on a row of their own sort of works. I like this better than Banjo 2 spots, then the random button, and then the Mii's, I guess, below by themselves. It looks a little better having the Mii's and the random button with 3 characters after Banjo. It's a bit cleaner. The other thing about a character select screen with 3 more characters after Banjo instead of just 2 is this. over on Twitter at Laser98 wrote, "Hey PapaGenos, I just wanted to mention that in Classic mode there are 4 blank character slots that are available in order to make a perfect rectangle, possibly a bonus DLC fighter." So this is what the character select screen looks like now for Classic mode, and it ends with Hero, so you can add Banjo, and then if you added 2 more characters, there'd still be a blank spot. However, if you add 3 characters after Banjo, it perfectly fills up the Classic mode screen. Now, while we're on the subject of getting one more bonus character after the Fighter's Pass, I'd like to point out a common misconception I still see people talking about. So if you go over to the stage select section of the game, here it is. This is what was just the base game, so you have to add in Joker stage, Hero stage, and Banjo-Kazooie Spiral Mountain stage, and then you have 3 blank spots left. So a lot of people are thinking, hey, we have 2 characters after Banjo, why are there 3 spots for stages? Maybe there's a bonus fighter. This is just a misconception. Actually, when you're creating a new rule set and you go into random stage selection, there is a button for custom stages that fills up one of those spots. So most likely this is why there's an extra square there. It's not for an extra stage for some bonus character, it's just for this custom stage icon. I do still think we could get a bonus character, but most likely they wouldn't come with their own stage. Or if they did have their own stage, there would be like a new tab for further stages beyond this. Okay, so getting one more bonus character after this Fighter's Pass yields us a character select screen that looks something like this. But what would we need to get to a perfectly clean, squared off character select screen? Well, if instead of getting a single bonus character after this Fighter's Pass, we actually got 10 more characters after this Fighter's Pass, we'd have, once again, a perfectly squared off, clean character select screen. Obviously, 10 more characters sounds like a whole lot, but that would be exactly 2 more Fighter's Passes worth of characters. Now, once again, I can't emphasize enough that this is highly speculative theory stuff. I'm just doing this for fun to see where we get. But is there any evidence that there could be 2 more Fighter Passes? Well, actually, there sorta is. I made a video a while back called 2 More Fighter Passes? ? In that video, I talked about how a data miner, Mizumi, over on Twitter wrote this. One of the files for World of Light has 16 dummy slots, with one of them being used for plant. Now, I will admit I am no expert on data mine info, and I'm totally amateur when it comes to reading code in a game or what that could possibly mean, but let's just look at it at face value. If there's 16 dummy slots in World of Light, and Piranha Plant was taking one of those slots, then it could be assumed that the other 5 Fighter Pass characters could fill up 5 more of those spots, leaving 10 more spots in World of Light. 10 more spots in World of Light could fit 2 more 5-character Fighter Passes exactly, and 10 more characters after this Fighter Pass fits getting that perfectly clean character select screen. Again, I'll really emphasize this is just speculation. There's absolutely no guarantee that there will be 2 more Fighter Passes after the current one. Now, what would Classic mode look like if we added in 10 more characters after the current Fighter Pass? It would look a lot like it does right now, actually. There'd be a whole other row of characters, and then there'd be a bottom row with 4 missing spots, which doesn't look too bad, but admittedly, it's not perfectly square. Now, just to take this speculation to its limit, let's also look at the character select screen where you have the Echo Fighters filling up the same square as their counterparts. Here's what the Echo Fighter character select screen looks like in the base game, and then if we were to add in the Fighter Pass and our hypothetical 10 more character Fighter Pass, you would have to have at least 6 of those 10 more characters being Echo Fighters in order to get a character select screen that's perfectly squared off. So once again, extremely hypothetical stuff here, but let's say this first Fighter Pass is all third-party characters, then we would get, say, a Nintendo first-party character pass of 4 characters, and then an Echo Fighter Pass of 6 characters. That could make a perfectly square character select screen in both the normal version with all characters shown and the version where the Echo Fighters overlap the characters that they are echoes of. Now, once again, I must emphasize that Sakurai, in the past, historically, has not put a bunch of priority on creating character select screens that are perfectly clean and squared off like that. Just look at the Melee character select screen. It's very strange looking. So there's not really too much of a reason to think that they would definitely go for some sort of very clean, squared-off character select screen here for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. However, there is some interesting stuff that happens with that. For instance, a perfectly clean character select screen does fit that whole idea of those dummy slots in the World of Light data, fitting 2 more fighter passes. So I just thought it was interesting to look at that right now while we have a clean character select screen going on with Hero as our newest character. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Trace over on my Discord, who pointed out a lot of the interesting things going on with this whole character select screen theory stuff. Okay, so what other interesting stuff is going on with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate speculation right now? Well, we just had something that came out that could be pointing to when potentially some more of our DLC fighters could get released. Over on Twitter, Amiibo News wrote, according to Amazon UK, Simon Belmont, Incineroar, and Chrom, Amiibo are due out on November 15th. The same date as Pokemon Sword and Shield. And if you look over on Amazon, you can see that the Incineroar amiibo is in fact up and is in stock on November 15th. So what do the amiibo's release date have to do with when a DLC character might get released? Well, there's a bit of a pattern going on right now. Ken, Daisy, and Young Link amiibos were released on April 12th. 4 days later, Joker was released on April 16th. Pokemon Trainer Pichu and Isabel's amiibos were released on July 26th, and then 4 days later, on July 30th, Hero was released. They release on a Tuesday/Wednesday, mattering the time zones, the next week after an Amiibo Wave release. The next Amiibo Wave release is Snake, Ivysaur, and Squirtle, and they release on September 20th. 4 days later would be September 24th, and that's potentially when Banjo could get released in America. If the Amazon UK November 15th release is when Incineroar, Simon, and Chrom are coming out, then 4 days later would be November 19th or November 20th, mattering to what Europe and America's whole time zone is. That could be when our 4th DLC fighter could come out. That'd be really cool for me because November 19th is my birthday. So there you go. If this pattern is to be continued, Banjo's release date could happen September 24th, or at least around then, and then our 4th DLC fighter could be coming out on November 19th, or again, at least around then. We do have to finish up this entire fighter pass by February 2020, so that does actually seem kind of reasonable to get 2 more characters within the next few months here. They'd have to announce the 4th DLC fighter at some point, and obviously the 5th DLC fighter would have to be announced and then released in February, so maybe that final Fighter Pass DLC character could get announced, say, December, maybe at the Game Awards again, something like that, and then release the fighter in February. It would fit for the schedule for when the Fighter Pass is supposed to end. Okay, so another interesting thing happening in Smash news right now is something to do with SNK. Over on DualShockers.com, there was an SNK interview, and they said this. I also asked about the possibility of an SNK character in Smash Bros. The answer was not unexpected. I'd love that. Please, Nintendo-san. If Nintendo asked for a character for Smash Bros., he mentioned that a fun idea would be Poppy, Galeford's dog from Samurai Showdown, on his own. A ninja dog would be a cool option. So this is another one of those strange things where if a company does have a character coming in Smash, what kind of non-disclosure agreement would they be beholden to? Would they be able to say anything about it? Would they just say, like, no comment? It's never totally clear. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Maybe a soft deconfirmation that no SNK characters are coming, or maybe that was all just deflection. There is the Milk Bosatu leak, a Japanese Twitter user who got a few things right for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and is claiming a female fighting game looking character who uses some sort of flying weapon like a boomerang or a throwable hammer will be coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as one of our other Fighter Pass characters. Some people were guessing, since some Samurai Showdown characters have been appearing as guests in other fighting games such as Heiumaru coming to Soul Calibur 6, that it's possible, if Milk Bosatu is right, the female fighting game character with a flying weapon could be Nakaruru. This also could somewhat fit that bird on a roof image from Sabi's Discord, but I'm more in the camp that that's probably something for Pokemon, so I just thought I'd throw it out there, but I'm still at a loss for what this starling bird on a roof could really be pointing towards. Now, the final thing I want to talk about in this video is coming from JD Cabrera, and it is called the Ulysses Claw Theory. I know, it sounds like a strange one. This theory has to do with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and I'm just going to read the PDF I was sent about the theory. There's something really suspicious regarding the classic Black Panther villain known as Claw in the game Ultimate Alliance 3. Here's how he looks in the comics most of the time, but here's how he looks in Ultimate Alliance 3. That's an odd and radical redesign for the character. It does oddly resemble more to a certain character. Samus is no stranger in the world of Ultimate Alliance speculation, though. Back in the days of the first game in the trilogy, she actually got close to getting added but got scrapped due to the developers showcasing her on a PS2 build of the game rather than a Wii one to the Nintendo representants. Now, I'm not totally sure about that story being true, but I do know Samus was a planned character for the first Ultimate Alliance game and was scrapped. What if Koei Tecmo wants to make this odd case real after these years? This redesign of Claw bears so much resemblance to Samus Aran, both design-wise and on his boss fight movement, that maybe Koei intended that redesign as a way to use Claw as a base for Samus in the future in order to save resources. And if this is indeed the case, what if this expanded to even more negotiations? What if Koei managed to get Samus in Ultimate Alliance 3 in exchange for something with Nintendo? Hayabusa in Smash, a new Ninja Gaiden, or Warriors title as a timed Switch exclusive, another kind of collaboration? Time will tell, but I think Samus may be more likely for Ultimate Alliance 3 than we may imagine. Koei Tecmo is on good terms with Nintendo, and I could see it being possible that they may want to actually bring that unrealized character, Samus Aran, into Ultimate Alliance finally in Ultimate Alliance 3. Koei Tecmo is already credited as a company in the credits for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. They have an assist trophy from Fatal Frames and 2 spirits from Fatal Frames in Smash Ultimate already. Could this mean someone like Ryu Hayabusa or Kasumi from Dead or Alive could be coming as one of our DLC characters? It's certainly a possibility, and if perhaps they were actually negotiating with Nintendo to get Samus into Ultimate Alliance 3, it's possible that negotiations for character exchanges could have been going on. Well, that's everything I got for you guys today. Obviously, that character select screen stuff is highly speculative, so don't take it too seriously. I just thought it was fun to dive into all that right now while we have a very clean-looking character select screen with Hero added. If you guys have any thoughts or comments on any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below. So once again, thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes. It really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.